Hi, this is Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Times Square Chronicles. I was in the Hamptons at the Global Passion Project, and there was a panel on stage, and I really couldn't wait to hear them. Unfortunately, the moderator talked through most of it. However, there was a woman that just stood out to me, and I knew that I had to meet her. My spirit was saying, Meet this woman. Very luckily, she came and she sat next to me, and her name is Dee Baer. She is America's top foundational health coach. She's a health nutritionist. She has written the book, The Essence of a Woman, Unleash the Feminine Soul, which is on the New York Times bestseller list. She has written a book called Healthopedia, putting together the pieces of togetherness in foundational health. She has written 21 days, your best. I'm missing this all up, but as you well know, that's kind of what this is about. The keys to a life well lived, and she's part of the Ignite series. I am so blessed and honored to know Dee Baer. Jody, hi, how are you?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm loving to be here. And Susanna, it is such an honor to be on your, as we would say, the Chronicles. We chronicled a time together at the Hamptons. And you know what I believe about this, Susanna, more than anything? We chronicled this divine meeting. As I set up on the stage when we talked about manifestation, it was a whoa manifestation. I mean, I did not know that here I would be here with you, but here we are. And thank you for having me on your show.
No, thank you. Your woe manifestations, your woe thinking. Can you explain that? Because when you were talking, when you had the little chance to talk, it was enlightening.
Okay. And as far as manifestation, as they say on the original Secret, which I probably watch twice a month, but 99% of us live externally and then it comes into us. But real healers, as you know, being a healer yourself and everything that you do and you are and you're being in your beingness, it's not what we do, it's how we be. As I say, it's that beingness in within. So when I knew that I was invited to be in this docu series, the first one is The Art of Manifestation. Tony Doty and his wife, Christina Kandula Doty, are my great clients who've turned into friends. And what I've learned from this, we can all manifest, but I'm just going, because I'm a wordsmith, 76-time best-selling author and a publisher, I do words, Susanna. And what the word was to me was whoa manifestation. I've always said we are wow women. Wow, what do we do? Whoa manifestation. What do we manifest as a whoa man? That's why the essence of a woman, because we have divine feminine and divine masculine. That's why we say unleash the feminine soul. When I said about the art of attraction, it's not who, it's not what, it's not how, but where are you at traction? Those are
Mm.
my two words for today.
No, that's actually really interesting because the things that are coming to me and the manifestations that are coming to me, I'm not the best at meditation. I'm not the best at following the rules on how we're supposed to do stuff. But I've learned that since I've let go of how it should be and the way that it should be and the way that other spiritual people tell me it should be and just let it be, then it comes and it comes in waves.
Yes. Yes, it does. Because you're a musician, we've found out together that you are also a classically trained vocalist.
Right.
Remember what they said in the movie, Let It Go, Let It Absolutely. You let it go so you can be. We're really human beings in a spiritual and human experience. When we can align our spirits with our souls, that manifestation, in our case, woe manifestation occurs.
It's funny because the song Let It Go is from Frozen and it's
Yes.
about being coming unfrozen.
Yes, we unfreeze so we have our woe manifestation now, don't we, Susanna?
Yeah, it's funny because as we've gotten to know each other, the things that we have in common and the things that are there are amazing. I mean, we're kind of like the same little person in two different bodies.
So you remember that movie when was it Renee Zellweger said to Tom Cruise, "You had me at hello"?
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Susanna, you had me at Om as we were meditating next to each other. You had me at Om. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It truly, truly was. And isn't that what transformation is? With my 35,000 client patients that I had during my brick and mortar practice for 45 years. I will say weight loss was my key. 1.1 million pounds of toxic fat, 5% recidivism rate, but truly those 1,876 babies that were born when couples came to me and they couldn't make a baby. I always said, I wish I could have been the first resort rather than the last resort, but it's okay because in both of those situations, transformation is an inside job. As soon as soon as the couples relaxed and just let it go, guess what happened? They were on the go to being parents. They were on the go to being parents. When my weight loss clients said, just let it go, decide what your best and truest life is. That's what we're doing in Greece with my teacher trainer, my co-founder, who, by the way, Susanna, was sitting to the left of me, Dr. James
Yeah,
Marinakis.
I remember him.
Yes, co-founder of Healthopedia. And what we're doing in Greece and why you see this was a true manifestation. You take care of you and your world first. The world around you is empowered forever. I had to take care of myself. You never know where that blessing is. I'm sure you have a million stories like this. And of course, you're going to be
I'm
my
so
guest. Yes, and my guest on my show Healthopedia 365 channel with Life's Milkshake Moment because I know you have this kind of milkshake moment, Susanna. When you have this situation, a client who and colleague still uses three sweet and lows. Did I say three in his iced tea? Said you need to meet this Dr. James Marinakis. I met him and the rest is history. I've been his student. I've been a trainer when you're around a man who makes you this comfortable. I live in Florida. I'm going down the turnpike. We had this horrific tropical storm, and this was 25 years ago. And I'm at the gas station. All of a sudden, the umbrella took me, and I called him on my bag phone. Remember those bag phones?
Oh yeah.
And I said, Dr. Jim, I'm going to have bad hair. He said, no worries. I have no hair. And and the rest is history. He showed me through his creative in tuneness to the universe how to put this Humpty Dumpty back together again. And I've never been the same. Now, bring it full circle. I finally got him out of just teaching and training and being the researcher and the man of longevity and performance and truly to heighten your intelligence. I guess in heighten is a new word. But he wrote in Healthopedia, our first book. And I said, Jim. Now, I had these initials after my name, Susanna, PhD. Well, there were three others. It said DKS, didn't know, and you know what the last word is.
Yes.
But I was impassioned, and we brought 40 authors together, baby boomers teaching millennials and Gen Zers just how I wanted to. And we trended for 72 hours on Google because
Wow.
the time is right for this. I know that you've been in the holistic health world forever, like I have. Remember those ladies that you saw that were gray haired and they were on the back of a vitamin shop and they had this little card table?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And they were just glad to see you. Well, now we're the little gray-haired ladies that it's now our time. And he agreed to assist me and coach me through Healthopedia. Well, who does a retreat after 4 months in a company? Well, we did down in Boca Raton with 190 participants. Now, Jamie Kerr, who is one of our authors in Healthopedia, big global strategist and executive coach, he couldn't come. Now, he's in the UK with his wife, had a personal situation with his mother in law. He stayed with his wife. And manifestation, and this is the end of a long story. It's hard to break this down, Susanna, but this is truly who you are, and it chronicles who I am in this journey, why we're in Greece. Jamie went ahead, unbeknownst to me, texted me on WhatsApp. It was going fabulously well. Dr. Jim and I took a little break in the restroom, and he, with the name of Marinakis, when they have these multi-syllables, he's Greek. And I looked at him, I said, Doc, this year Boca, next year Greece. And I looked when I got back to my station and looking the run sheet as most hosts do. And Jamie Kerr said, this year Boca, next year Greece. And that's how this came up to be, that we're going to recreate in Crete, Greece, in 13 days, doing what Jim does the best to empower executives, teaching coaches like myself and holistic physicians like myself and practitioners, but executives to be more, do more with less energy, more time, and more intelligence.
Something we all need.
Yes.
Now, how does somebody get on to this journey and to be going to Crete?
Well, and thank you for hitting that softball to me. You're just such a great host. But they can go to Health a Pedia, Pedia 365. It's a very intimate group. We do have 3 sponsorships left. And if anybody views this and say, this speaks to me, DM me at Health Coach Jody on Instagram. You'll find Dee Baer, Dr. Dee Baer on LinkedIn and also Facebook Healthopedia. I'll give you details. And there's an opportunity. We've set up March 22nd through 29th in Aruba. Dr. Jim was the Minister of Health for the country of Aruba for 10 years. So it makes sense to go back there and take this group. Remember, Susanna, when he said he was going to go ahead and do his next product is longevity?
Yeah, can we talk about that?
Yes, and I'm going to talk about the next clinical trials of the next product that will be out is called Plasex. I wanted to call it X-Plax, but it kind of sounded like X-Lax. So, so we were going to do this, but it kind of does like X-Lax does. How many of you, your guests probably know and your followers know about microplastics? They are absolutely everywhere in your system. They are tied to chronic fatigue and disease, autoimmune disease, but primarily Alzheimer's. He has the quintessential product to get that out. And we're now in the clinical trial phase. The next one is longevity. And many of you know Suzanne Summers did a lot with telomerase. And he has created this product that you can take in oral form. But through longevity, he's doing it with this small group in Crete so they can go out and be his test market. You can't do it to everyone. I told him when we decided on 30, well, there was this guy that lived and he was like totally perfect and had 12 guys that followed him. So I didn't want to deify him. So we decided on 30. So
Wow.
this is where this movement is. And I will say one of the things that you can practitioner only that he has done that is totally amazing. And I need to give him, I've never met a formulator like him, but it was an antiviral, which really is the panacea for T cell creation. We know about immune system now because of COVID, but it boosts your killer T cells. It repairs the NK by making MK cells be in their place. It is absolutely been everywhere, everywhere. During the pandemic, we were just having it on the shelf, and then we manifested and Woe manifested it. 3 months prior to the pandemic, I said to Jim in November, I think we need to bring this product out, which we did in clinicals February, March, April. And we've been doing amazing things with it because between that and what he's done with, as we know, we need those phytoplanktons. Everybody talks about the gut, but when you can do the parasite eradication, which really was my first mentoring with Dr. Hulda Clark, and I'm proud to say that I'm
You knew Holga?
I'm on her legacy board foundation.
I'm so in love with this lady. Um, Parasites are our biggest problem, and people don't
Yes.
even realize it. And
Exactly. And she turned, and she was, and that kind of ties in, Susanna. And then I will totally give the microphone back to you, but I'm just
no, I want you to
excited
talk.
as this lead, but how I will manifested Dr. Clark into my life. My son was 4.5. Who gets kicked out of preschool? Well, he,
Me.
yeah, and my son, because he was just me with testosterone.
Mm.
Susanna. But when he came with these, oh, he was so cute with these aquamarine eyes, and there was crocodile tears, and he goes, Mommy, as I'm in the carpool lane, am I always going to be sad? Well, I
Oh,
booted into the headmaster. I said, basically, I said, what the, and I used the H word, is going on. She said, well, he's a disturbing element. I was kind of suspect because my son said, what's a scurvy elephant? Is that one that needs vitamin C, mommy? Now, I had one
great
certification
answer. Great answer.
as a health coach, and she said he has ADHD. He needs to be on whatever. Well,
I love
I took him home and I distracted him by turning on the TV because that's what I will manifested. Dr. Clark was on with Phil Donahue, and she was on doing a back to school session. It was exactly this time 40 years ago. And
that.
she said, how perhaps maybe these children aren't a disease, as Les Brown says, my coach and speaker coach, that your diagnosis is not your prognosis. Maybe they just need to grow into their brilliance. Well, I dropped our sandwich plates on the floor. Everything went everywhere when she said, I live outside of Atlanta, Georgia, where I was. But Susanna, woe manifested 1984. No GPS, no anything PS, no nothing but a mother's passion. And I combed the streets of Alpharetta, Georgia. I looked for every person that had sensible shoes, looked like they were vegetarian, and women who didn't dye their hair. I
Mhm.
found her. I knocked on her door. My son was with me. He said, Mommy, we're going to find her, aren't we? I said, Oh, yes, son. And I said, all you need to do when we open up the door, now you probably wouldn't do that now in today's climate. After I knocked on her door, I introduced myself and I said, my son needs to see you. And she said, I'm retired. I'm 70. I don't see any patients anymore. And I said to her, but you will see him. Squeeze my son's shoulder. He smiled. We were in. 3 days took him through this parasite protocol, changed his life. When I took him back to preschool, well, did you get him on something? I said, yes, a vitamin. That was it. But then I went
With
back
the
to her.
copper things? Did you
Pardon?
did you hold the copper things?
Because of confidentiality, I don't want to go into what we did. It was a parasite protocol. That
Got
was Hulda Clark, as you well know.
yeah.
But the idea is that I knocked on her door again, and this is what changed my life forever. And I said, he's a normal son. She said, I know, in her lovely accent. And I said, I didn't say, well, would you probably think I could be mentored by me? Oh, no, no, no. I went in, Suzanne. I said, I must be mentored by you. And she said, but I'm not taking any mentees. I said, what if I'm the person that's supposed to carry your message long after you're gone? I was in, and the next 3 years, I was mentored by Hulda Clark. In
Wow.
that, I wrote a goal card that said, during the first 3 months in March 1984, I will pen the Eastern medical version of the PDR. Little did I know that, see how thick these books are? We're
Yes.
doing our men's book. And yes, we are looking for a few good men. Real men are aware, awakening the conscious male. But the idea was I found this goal card while I was being of service, just like you're in being of service to give me this beautiful platform to tell my story. Thank
Oh,
you.
please. I'm thrilled.
And I went and was looking for during the middle of COVID, after I'd written the 21 Days to Your Best You. This was a pedestrian version of my dissertation. I wasn't going to watch Netflix. And I was almost done. My then husband, who was still alive, and I said to him, after I was looking for all this something to help this young man that was off the rails, like my son, knew it was ADHD. His dad was a client, and out fell this goal card. And I said to my husband, who I called Big Bear, I said, Big Bear, get it named Jody Bear. And I said, do you think I could do like this thing that says PDR, which if your guests don't know, it's the red book that's on conventional allopathic medical doctors in their office. Do you think I could do that? Is that possible that I could make an anthology about health? He goes, well, Miss Jody, you are a walking encyclopedia of health. That is the rest of the story. Bless you for listening.
Are you kidding? I want to hear more. I can't believe that you knew Helga Clark. I've been a big fan of hers since I
Yes.
was like 14, 15.
Yes. And
So,
I have worn out 3 books on the cure for all diseases. Some of it's dated, but it's still the same protocol. Just like when I manifested, and it's very interesting because I'm weaving what I was going to say on the stage at the Hamptons, but I didn't have a chance. But now I is the chance. I'm just thinking. But here I was
see, and
with
now I get to hear it.
Yes, I was with a toddler and a newborn in my lap. Ever have something that hits you out of the blue? It was my mom after I did dinner and ring, ring, ring. Hey, mama, how you doing, mama? I'm not doing well, Jody. I said, Mama, what's wrong? She said, the doctors say I have cancer. I have 6 weeks to live. I bolted to back to my home state of Montana with those 2 babies, and I woe manifested going to the library in a town that has one caution light. And I was attracted to this one aisle. There I found Hulda Clark's mentor, Edgar Casey.
Oh, yeah.
His ancient protocols, maybe, iconically ancient, 200 years old, blew the dust off them, bolted to the front of the library like I was Usain Bolt, implemented those protocols for my mother and gave her 3.5 years length of life, way beyond her 6 weeks to live diagnosis. And Susanna, do you know why? And for this reason, I went into retirement, sold my practice, COVID happened. Then my husband again looked at me and he said, you need to get out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel like you have your passion, or whatever, just woe manifest or manifest your passion because I told my husband, I've retired. I'm not doing this. I don't have a website. People just found me. I don't have anything as far as a place to accept email. And he said, you have knowledge. Just how much yoga are you going to do? So he got me back in just like my mother got me in the first time when she was on her way and was ready as she was transitioning from this world to the next. She looked at me and said, Jody, give others hope the way you've given it to me. And that's what I've been doing ever since, Susanna.
I'm going to ask something controversial.
Please.
because I think we need to discuss this.
Okay. Controversial away.
Thank you. Right now, it seems that our world, because it's not just our country,
No.
is trying to poison and kill us.
Yes.
And they are doing it with 5G.
Mhm.
They're doing it with food. They're doing it with vitamins.
Yes.
Can you give our readers and our listeners a simple way, if there is one, to combat this?
Number one, and that's a great question. Knowledge is power. Okay. And knowledge is power. Never, ever, 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 ever do vitamins DIY anymore. Why? Because you wouldn't go ahead and take a prescription without a doctor's prescription. That's why I'm busier now than I ever was. And it's you need someone that is a qualified holistic practitioner. I've spent my whole life doing this, 49 years with vitamins, okay? And it's what's right for you is not right for me. Now, you can start with A, B, C, D, and then do elemental P. And those are vitamin A, B, C, D. And then your magnesium, calcium is a really good start. Make sure your immune system stays high. Make sure that you eat alkaline and make sure you cleanse on a regular basis because it'll take the 5G out of your system. Even if you added the sixth one, which is going to be Plasex, you will get all of those phytochemicals, those all of those chemicals out of your system. Because if you just say, well, I'm going to get it from food, it's remember whatever that English Shakespearean actor that said, out damn spot. These are the damn spots. 5G, your foods, your vitamins, and I'm going to add stress. Because stress, remember I said, whether it's positive or negative, to have a daily routine. And I want to lead your viewers and your readers to my health coaching. And yes, I do have a website now. It's drjodee.com. You will find under the blogs 10 rituals to rock your day because your personal success is found in your daily routine.
Mm.
And those 10 rituals to rock your day will rock your world.
Would you say that letting go and not letting the world rule you, but you rule your world
Mhm.
is definitely a place to be? Because
Yes.
I know for me, like I have a lot of gut issues and I always have, but
Huh?
it comes from childhood. And for me, I still every day have to think, let go, because my body wants to hold on. My body's way of dealing with stress and with dealing with what's going on right now with the veils and everything else is to hold on to things. And I'm like, no, go away.
And that and I would just say because you are such an empath,
Mm.
because you are that empath, that's why holding on, that's why letting it go. That's what we're going to do in Crete through the six pillars with spiritual, mental, then it goes to emotional. Because
Right.
every health situation is in your emotions. It manifests in health, in your physical health. That's why emotional is before physical, then to financial and social. And but it is just truly that letting go. You're absolutely right. I also believe that's when you see in the 10 rituals to rock your day. I'm a big one on meditating. So, but Jody, I've never meditated. Well, everything you learned in life, you learned in kindergarten. You had nap time. Even if you nap, even if you go ahead and do that, the breathing, you will let that go.
And right now, the world is definitely in a flux, especially like the past week.
Oh,
Um,
Who
there
knew?
there's something coming.
Yes.
Um, because things that should not be happening, like I have the website Unlocking the Keys to Healing. It was
Right.
it was hacked a week ago, and I still have not gotten all the viruses out of it to put it back up again. What would be your biggest, because I know that you've gone through this as well, what would be your biggest um, inspiration to the readers for how to deal with what is going on right now?
To, first of all, that spiritual pillar, to pray for the families, whether it this is not political. There was a senseless murder in our world.
Yes.
Okay. And there were senseless murders in 9/11. Pray and you will get inspiration. And then when I say, when you are take care of you and your world, the world around you is empowered for other. Take care of you, meditate, pray, and then go out of yourself and do that one thing. As I always say, be reserved with those that you don't know. Be be respectful of those you meet. Be kind to those you are an acquaintance with, but be vulnerable for those to those you love. And if you keep that in mind, those sequences, you will make a difference.
Dr. Jody, thank you so much for being with me. I'm going to put all the links into
Thank
the
you.
site to let everybody know how to go to Greece, how to find Healthopedia, how to find you. Thank you so much for being with me. I am so grateful.
And I'm so glad you found me.